Hello everyone and welcome to Roll and Play, where a bunch of actors have decided to do some tabletop RPG for you, and we are going to be playing Catch the Conspiracy, brought to you by Black Book Editions. You will find in the description everything about the game in itself in the description of the video, and you've normally watched the first 2 episodes and have found out what can actually happen in all of this. The episode is also sponsored by Holy, who are going to be helping us with all their drinks, vegan, healthy, German, made in Berlin, lots of nice things about that. And you'll find a $5 discount in the description of the video. And now, we're back. We're back, you're back.
We're back.
Deborah's back.
We're back, I'm back. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
I didn't even realise I was back till that very moment.
Yeah, I woke you up.
You did a little bit.
You are awakened. An awakened cat.
I'm perfect.
Perfect. What are you, Angela? How are you?
I'm just happy to be included, so I'm ready to...
How have you become more and more of your character?
Yeah, there's a bit of bleed here and there.
Yes,
I'm just happy to have so many friends.
This is a lot of social interaction for me, and I'm loving it, so...
Well, that's good, because you've got a partner of crime who's
Yeah.
often there.
Yeah, I'm Karen. I'm happy to be here too. And I'm playing Maru.
Maru.
Yeah. Very athletic cat.
And how is it to be a half-human, Julia?
It's great, but I don't know anything about technology. I forget my smartphone and things like that. I want to go internet cafes and I want to find my wife!
That's
Find my wife, please.
To be honest, I want to find his wife too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to find Grace. Finding Grace.
I think you need to
I know.
his
It's a
wife.
good name for a,
Good name for a movie.
series,
Good
yeah.
name for a movie. Well, it's all down to you.
It's all down to me. I'm A and I'm still here in the GMC. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait, can't
Let's
wait.
go. Last we left off, so many things happened. You were investigating the Temple of Denda and found mysterious things, including some incriminating evidence pointing back towards the leader of the Progressists and your uncle, George. After that, you wanted to go outside, but the army was here, and so instead, you teleported onto the Brooklyn Bridge and had a very interesting chats indeed, finally opening up to each other and revealing some of your secrets, and decided to teleport back into the basement of the Met.
Finally.
The basement, where you were welcomed by a team of very scary-looking, I'm not going to say ninjas again, scary-looking
SWAT team?
SWAT team
Ninjas.
wearing full black and a bit like this.
And how many were there?
There were 25 actually.
There's
like some
sliding,
confusion
it's a
about
sliding
that.
scale between 10 and 25.
Yeah.
It depends the angle that you look at
Yeah,
the scene. And before anything could happen there, luckily enough, you were both teleported out, and now you're face to face with your uncle.
Just the person I was hoping we'd meet on our journey. Somebody who can perhaps find or reveal some of the answers.
Yeah.
Are you playing the...
What?
Where is George?
I'm
playing everybody else, don't worry.
No, I'm not playing George. I'm not playing Uncle. What a surprise. You summoned us here? Did you
You
not?
were about to die. I sent you on the field with some of my most skilled agents, and you... 25 humans in riot gear?
Yeah, I suppose when you look at it like that, I didn't really have time to compose my thoughts in that room of 25.
Do you know who they were? Have a think.
I didn't even want to go to the basement.
Well, no, that's just, we'll talk later. Well, I suppose there is a name that comes to mind, but unless it is the American Secret Service or worse.
Yeah, think worse.
Just tell us, Uncle.
Yeah, I'll just...
Rise,
Hey.
kind of.
I'm not sure we're there yet.
Okay.
You can call me Madro. You can call me George. Uncle is
Uncle George?
Uncle George.
Okay.
Please, a little respect. This is serious. I believe we've met the Rosicrucians, and this is a faction of
The
humans.
who?
So you don't know everything.
Well, I was just testing to see if you knew everything, and I'd like to know more.
Have any of you heard of this group of people before?
I've heard of them,
Okay.
but I would like you to explain. But
Yeah.
I can explain if you want.
Yeah.
Do we do this?
Oh, the cat's out of the bag now.
You absolutely have no choice.
The Rosicrucians
Love that pun.
are a group of simians who, very early on, 1200s, I believe, have formed a group who found out, or got to the edge of finding out about the conspiracy. They encountered a bastard, which one of them tortured.
What, you?
I'm not that old, I'm sorry. 1200 is a bit
And
early.
extracted key information, almost leading to the unveiling of our existence and putting everyone in danger. Since then, these humans have constituted a group, organized, informed, very secret, higher levels of secrecy than any government policy organization that there is in the world. From simians, of course, we are pretty good, but they're the most dangerous. And every time we are on the edge of being discovered, they are not far, looking for an opportunity to find out. So far, to my knowledge, they don't know that it's cats who are behind this conspiracy and behind the existence of the human species. However, they have been getting close, and if they were there and they saw us, they're getting too close.
Sounds like they're hot on our tail.
I do like the humor in a moment of tension,
I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
but it still doesn't tell us what to do. There are other matters that bother me too. We found a device.
There. And I put the device in front of him.
That seems to be linked somehow to the
You.
affliction.
The you.
The you.
Well, to
More
you,
disturbingly, it bears your seal. And we would like to know why.
Who else knows about this?
Just us. For now.
And maybe Grace.
And my parents.
And I want to find it.
Your parents.
Your parents,
Well, you
do
didn't
they
tell
know about
them.
the seal?
They didn't know.
I mean,
about
they
it.
told-
No, not about the seal. They just know
They
that
just
you've
know about
poked
the.
it.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
she poked it. But, well.
Well, I
then-
realize I was beating around the bush about the matter, but anyway, yes.
enough
your
bickering.
seal was
A
there.
little, yes.
Yeah. Explain the seal.
And it was directly linked to the cats being.
Explain the seal. Are you using mass mind control to control all the regressed cats? And if so, why?
Explain the device.
Well, it projects on the wall of a temple in the museums in the Egyptian
Temple
area.
of Danda.
Temple of Danda. The figures on the wall were cat heads every time, and the device can't be switched off. And the device.
It amplifies cats' abilities who are awakened, but also amplifies regressed cats' thought patterns for the moment, leading us to believe that perhaps it could turn regressed cats into awakened cats.
And didn't it emit a kind of message? A patterned message, something like that?
So we think it's coming from the device, but the hypnotized cats were getting a message of saying, more, gather, collect,
Unite.
unite.
Grow,
All
yeah.
synonyms for all those kinds of
For
words.
shady stuff.
But
Yeah.
you must already know this. Your seal is on the device after
Yeah.
all.
Right there. On a screen.
Does this
See.
look familiar to you?
And we point to
Are
it
you-
Yes,
with
this
our
is-
Are you
furry
gonna say
paws.
something, maybe?
This is my seal. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this device is. And I think you, of all people, should understand that I'm clearly being framed here.
Well, I haven't actually said anything so far about that. I believe I'm in more of an investigative approach and surprised by the seal. You believe you're being framed?
I know I'm being.
So
you
you
have
didn't put
any
the seal
enemies?
on the device?
Are you
did
framing my
not-
uncle?
I said nothing of the sort. I'm merely asking the hard-hitting questions that nobody else will.
Are you framing my uncle?
I had a question for your uncle, actually. I would like to know if you have any enemies. If you are so surprised by this seal, who do you think did it?
Many, you know as well as I do. We're progressist. Everybody here hates us.
Who's everybody?
The rest of the council, the rest of the factions.
So we should suspect other people. Where should
Well,
we start?
I don't know. I'm not pointing fingers here. I don't know anything about this situation. You've come to me with perhaps the most incriminating piece of evidence anyone has ever accused a higher member of the council of. This could ruin my place, the progressist place, everyone's place in the council. We know what they do to factions who disagree.
But wouldn't a device like this that turns regressed cats into awakened cats and gives humans power be part of something you would want as a progressist? Like, it seems kind of sketchy to me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It does look sketchy. It would be something that the progressives would push for, but why would we do it now? Why would we do it in such a way? Why would we try to crumble this institution that we all work tirelessly for?
I'd like to go back to something you just said about factions. You know what they do to factions that disagree. So perhaps you can tell me what happened to the extremists who went missing.
That is above your pay grade.
Is it really above our pay grade, as we have discovered something that could...
We are your top agents, after all.
Yeah, and
I
we
don't
discovered something
think
that
you're part of
clearly
that.
shows that someone very high up is trying to frame you, because they must be very high up in the hierarchy, you know? They must have resources. They must have people able to create that kind of device. They must be mad personally at you for putting your seal on that device. Maybe it's all connected, like the disappearance of Grace.
Well, it does seem a bit foolish to put one seal on such a device.
Why would I sign it?
The problem is not why would you sign it. The problem is, would this be a good reason for people to discredit you? Because this is that. People will believe the worst case. You know that people, cats, are also driven by fear, not only reason. They could be irrational. And the rational thing would be to say, why would I have put my seal on that? The irrational response would be, this is just a mistake, and you've been caught. So, clearly, if someone is framing you, we have to know everything.
I struggle to see how this historical event in the council that is kept to the highest levels of secrecy, and we need to have a chat as to how you've come across this information. The only people who know about the Extreme West, and I'm not confirming or denying any of your accusations here, are in this room and maybe two others. So I don't see the link between this event and this clearly important thing happening where someone is trying to take me down.
May I ask a question to you, my dear?
Of course.
How did you learn about the extremists?
I'm afraid a journalist and one of my rank must always keep their sources secret,
Was it Mrs. Coop?
lest somebody gets hurt.
That sounded like a threat.
And since we are on rocky ground here, and since we cannot trust everyone in our group, I would like to keep that information private. I would like to pull aside my group, may I? Away from Uncle George, Sir George,
So Uncle George.
and suggest in a whisper that maybe someone has mind reading. Does someone have mind reading?
Telepathy? That's what I was about to, yeah.
Oh, can I?
I don't.
Yeah, can I
Unfortunately, I just have-
read? Well, I mean, we're reading each other's minds in continuum, aren't
Yeah.
we? Is there some way for me to
guess-
see the inner thoughts, the
To
inner
see,
workings?
like,
Yeah.
is he telling the truth? Is
Yeah.
he at least maybe
some
something
sort
like
of
that?
Maybe if I use a
deception
rank.
will just be intuition, I guess. Whiskers. sorry.
Whiskers, great. You want me to roll for whiskers?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, well that kind of was not great. 5, and then 4 times 2 is 8 plus 5, 13. Do I detect any deception?
You don't. You detect someone who is very confused and doesn't understand how you all know what you know,
Okay.
including like extremely top level clearance information.
It seems like he's being honest.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Let me just explain my line of thought, if you mind. You know about the extremist, and you are clearly affiliated to Miss Violet Scoop. And Violet Scoop has been coming up in the conversation with my wife, who is now disappeared. And I guess that if there is a link, there is a link there. If she was your informer on that topic, it means that we could tell him that piece of information, and this will link it to the extremist. If I'm right.
Tell him what piece of information, that Violet Scoop and your wife are potentially linked?
Well, if we are talking about the extremist, and clearly you don't see why we do, because this is not clearly related to that device. But my wife has disappeared, and my wife was talking about Violet Scoop. And if Violet Scoop is your informer on that matter, it means that maybe there is a link. She told you something that you shouldn't know, and my wife is telling me about her. So maybe there is a connection here.
I suppose the real question is, can we trust Sir Uncle George?
I mean, I looked into his cat brain and he looked like he was being honest.
I've known him all my life.
well, the thing is, let's
He's
pretend.
your uncle, Nepo baby.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's pretend for a moment that, you aren't responsible for this. Aren't you concerned? Don't you want to know more about this device?
Let me make this clear. The accusations that you're bringing today to me, that one of the top 10 people in this institution are grave and dangerous to all of you, and I can have you all kicked out of the council, no questions asked.
Well,
And
I
the
don't
only
care,
reason why
I'm
I'm
not-
not doing it is because I'm intrigued. And because if someone is framing me and this is how they do it, I don't want to let anybody else know.
So you have no one you trust in this agency who could actually investigate this
Who
object?
does?
Seems like you can only trust us, and perhaps we also need to trust you. So, allies then?
Wow. And just for the
Tentative
record,
allies.
I'm not part of the council anymore. I've not
Oh,
been
I know
part of the
about you,
council.
David.
Yeah, you know about me, and you know that I don't
That was
like
respectful. Use the name.
the way you treat bastards here. So,
Here. He's got a
I'm
point.
here for my wife, and only my wife.
How romantic.
We are all looking for your wife.
I know, and I am,
I'm surprised to see you here and not your wife, if I'm being
because
totally
my wife has
honest.
disappeared.
How
And she,
did you know?
oh, because she is smart.
Okay.
And she just texted me something that was an SOS. Because
does she
she knew
text?
that I could find her,
She's a bastard.
and the council would not help her.
Yeah.
Well, we sent a team of our best agents. We would have helped her eventually.
Oh, yes. Like you uphold bastards who are just tools in your hands, and you know that.
You're accusing the wrong person here. I am on the human side.
I don't care who I'm accusing. I want to find my wife, and clearly,
And clearly so do we.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
We sent her the information we sent you. We asked her to meet you there.
Why?
Because she's the top bastard agent that we have.
Ah, so she was meant to join us there on this mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And instead, we meet David.
exactly.
I
She
see.
would have probably found the basement before me.
Maybe. That's probably actually pretty
Most likely.
She's pretty smart, I think.
internet cafe.
Would it be?
Either way,
Yeah.
we need a plan of action.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Go
I
on.
see.
no, I mean, I think maybe we need to work together with Sir Uncle George. Do you know anything else about this device? You know, not that any other info you can give us, any other tips and tools and.
What? Do you know anything about Miss Scoops?
Well, she died.
Miss Scoops is dead.
Yes. Do you know anything about the
Such a
death, the
scoop.
murder?
She shook up the wrong tree, as far as I'm aware.
Interesting stuff.
Because Grace told me about Miss Scoops a few times during our conversation, not being specific, but the name was.
Well, she's a pretty famous journalist.
No,
also Miss
she wouldn't have
Scoop,
told
just
me
one.
as
Just one,
of
just
Miss
one
Scoop
scoop, just
like
one
that.
Singular scoop.
Because I don't care about the council, and she knows that.
Whose tree was she shaking up?
If you want us to help you, you're going to have to tell us a little bit more about why the extremists were expelled from the council.
I'm not at liberty to discuss this with you.
Well,
but-
then we're not at liberty to help you with your framing.
You look scared. Does he look scared to you?
Yes, tit for tat.
Yeah, how you like them
We'll
apples?
leave you here with the ninjas and you fend for yourself.
I suggest teleporting back to the basement and me using my abilities of getting all those humans to sleep real quick.
I don't
You
think
really want to use that power, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I don't think you understand. These are not regular humans. These are, as we've explained, Rosicrucians. They have dealt with magic in a way that is a bit. I have to say, we don't exactly know what they know and what they don't know.
What about combining powers?
It would seem that the reason why the Rosicrucians have stayed so separate from us for so long is that they have developed some kind of counter magic. We don't know where it's from. It could be from the gear, it could be from earplugs, some sort of technology. We don't really know, and that is the truth, and that is what makes them scary. If you go back there, your powers won't work against them, most likely.
But the device enhanced her powers.
Oh, good point.
Is that what it does?
Yes.
She was able to contact her parents telepathically
Using the
And my
while
parents live very
being,
far away, so
Yeah, and she's never been able to do it before.
while being in New York.
Where are your parents?
Toulouse, France,
Right.
extremely far away.
Okay.
Oh, come on, be helpful.
When
What
she
do you want
used
to
her powers
do?
to scramble the device, it turned on off all the devices in the array.
Yeah.
And it's making regressed cats
Think
Awakened.
think.
yes.
Think more.
more, not completely.
That's very dangerous. The numbers of the cats awakened are tightly controlled. If hundreds of thousands happen to develop magical powers overnight,
We are.
Yeah, the jig would be up at that point, I think. So that's no good.
That's why we want to know about the extremist, because it seems something a little
Exactly.
extreme.
Extreme is happening and in favor of the cats. Now, I'm the perfect companion, but even I draw the line at
Go on.
Extremists.
extreme actions.
Oh, okay.
And we know that you know something about this extremist thing. So I shall ask you one last time, Sir Uncle George.
Could I use my cat telepathy to read into his mind?
That's not how it works for,
Okay.
for cats.
Tell us what you know, and then
Okay,
we will help
so
you.
the Extremists are a group. They have a seat at the council. They have members. They are a political party that has existed and is among us and debate with us in a reasonable, sometimes manner. We don't share political views, but we share a similar understanding of the need to be cordial in debate. I doubt anybody from the council would be looking to transform 3/4 of the cats.
Unless a progressist has decided to go too far.
Is that an accusation?
I'm concerned, Uncle. I'm worried.
Well, I'm worried too.
Okay.
Should we
share
bring
one of
this?
my theories.
I'm also worried.
Do we bring this and I'll leave it to you because this is incriminating to me, so obviously I have skin in the game. Do we bring this to the rest of the council? Or do we deal with it ourselves?
You just said we couldn't trust anyone else.
Knowing that, as it stands right now, I cannot confirm nor deny any of your thoughts about the extremists and the stuff that Violet Scoop was investigating that you seem to have stumbled upon somehow.
Stumbled upon is a good way of phrasing it.
One thing we have to recall before to choose and take a decision is that when we arrived, the regressed cat were there, silent and not moving, and they had this order that was coming to them. But when we got near the device, they scattered, as if the device had turned its gaze on us and not them, or something changed.
Or maybe someone was channeling the device and hearing us arrive left.
What if the device was made specially to be found? What if the goal was that awakened cats find it,
To what purpose?
incriminate Sir
You've also
Uncle
brought this
George?
incredibly powerful and magic-enhancing device inside of the council.
True, because I had it with me when I was in the basement.
And it's
Yeah.
right here,
And
It's
in front of me now.
right here,
you
and you will
decide
see
to
that
bring
if
it in.
you try to use one of your powers, it will be
If I send a team of agents right now to, say, the Louvre, do we expect a similar
Well,
Find out.
I believe it may be the case, and I'm also thinking that if there were 25 Rosicrucian agents in the basement, then this may be the organization itself trying to frame us, because they know more than we thought they did.
Oh, that would be leaps and bounds further than what we'd expect from them.
I guess that the fact that the army was intervening allowed the Rosicrucians to, go into the basement as it stormed the building and see what was happening. I think the Rosicrucians were not aware of what is happening exactly. This is a theory. Absolute theory, but
And when you listened into the tank,
Yeah.
you heard that there were orders from above.
There were
that
orders from
seemed-
above. They weren't quite sure.
That seemed ludicrous, you said, or that seemed unbelievable, unlikely, something.
Yeah, that's what they thought that's what they were talking about. They said these orders seem arbitrary. We're not sure, and most of the soldiers seemed very, very confused.
So, this does look like a setup to unveil the existence of the conspiracy. Why involving your seal, I do not know.
Easy to frame somebody who's been fighting for this reveal, I guess.
You don't make it easy, do you?
Yeah.
Perhaps it's time I tell you a little bit more about what I've uncovered.
Please do.
that would be a very good idea, my dear.
I wasn't sure I could trust Sir Uncle George, but hopefully your telepathy skills are highly
point.
attuned.
I mean, they're pretty good.
And let's hope you won't betray us.
Guess as good as mine.
Before my great mentor, Miss Violet Scoop, sadly passed away, I, let's say, uncovered some of what she was working on. And, well, it's not good news, my furry friends, my furry felines, if you will. What I discovered was actually that, as I have said, the extremists were, some of them, most of them actually, were expelled from the council. And actually, right before a significant vote, they were accused of being separatists and they were exiled from the council. Something that some people cannot neither confirm or deny. Does this jog your memory, Sir Uncle George?
It seems like Violet Scoop's investigation got further along than I guess anyone at the council expected.
And she is no longer here.
And she's no longer here to tell us, but luckily I'm here to pick up
We're scoops.
where Scoop's left off. And as we know, I'm the best investigative journalist on this planet. But that's neither here nor there. Either way, it seems to me, really, that there's just a bit too many coincidences happening. A few too many cross lines and somebody who can link it all together.
And the very fact that Grace mentioned
Oh,
Mrs. Coop
Grace.
takes some
Wait a
sense.
second there.
Who's the time traveler here?
We both are.
How far back in time can you travel?
Can you travel back to the meeting where they were? Oh,
I'm afraid I have to cut this off. It's at 15 minutes.
We can amplify
Yeah,
with the
but with the
device.
amplifier, how
the time
many
travel
travel back
times
to the
can
meeting
we
where it all happened.
travel backward? Maybe when you
We
were a
need
puppy.
you.
Oh my.
Maybe when you were so small, you know.
How old was I when that happened? So small, what do you mean?
No, it wasn't very long ago.
Physically small when, you're a kitten.
Yeah, but he'd still
I wasn't that
be the
far.
same.
It was
if
a
he
few
time
years
travels
ago.
back.
How old was I? I can't remember. Okay. Oof.
No, I mean, maybe the device would
But
allow
you're
us
The
to
device
go
would
that
amplify
far.
it. You would have
Wait a
better
second.
But what would you
powers
do
to
when
time
you-
travel.
what-
Because
the plan when he's back there?
what we're suggesting is we send my today's brilliant mind into the mind of myself slightly less brilliant, and I have to relive my life again
No, we'll
to
bring
get
you
to
back.
this point.
Oh,
That doesn't work like that.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that with the amplification, we could probably go further than what your powers or mine could allow us.
But it
in a normal
allows me to
state.
go back to my previous state with my knowledge. You're
I
asking-
know.
with your current knowledge, yes.
Yeah.
The kind of magic you're talking about is unheard of.
We have the device.
Yeah, we do.
But it was pretty impressive.
Yes, Toulouse, you said. Right.
And it's pretty powerful because when you tried to telepathically attune to the signal that was sent to the regressed cat, you, if I remember correctly what you told us, you were hypnotized by it and subjected to its effect.
Yeah, that's true. There is some kind of intense mind control happening that even I was not immune to.
So the message got through to you as well.
Yeah,
She tried to hear it.
I tried.
Any of the others?
No,
No.
no.
Fascinating.
Is there a way for us to find? Do we know where these extremists are? Extremists.
And had you
Now?
had you finished your explanation of your findings?
That's as much as I know. For now.
Uncle, Sir, Uncle, Uncle, Sir,
Right.
George.
Stop
I
calling my
can't
uncle.
trust you, Nepo baby. For all I know, you could two be in cahoots.
Why are you calling? Stop calling me Nepo baby.
I think you deserve it.
Do we know where the extremists are at this moment, or where they hang out?
Where are the banished extreme? What are you
Extreme-
calling them?
Extremists.
Extremists.
Murists.
Extremists.
I am currently unaware of the ins and outs of the lives of cats
Dear,
that we
dear.
Can we just try the
Dear.
time travel thing? Do we even
You
need
would
you?
be stuck there.
Yeah, I'd be stuck there. No,
Yeah,
would I?
If we
that
give
is the
you
problem.
a tummy rub, would you be forthcoming about some information?
I do not joke lightly with tummy rubs.
A bite?
An ear scratch, perhaps?
No.
Pinch your toe beans?
You would
Yeah.
be stuck back there.
Yeah,
we
and we
just want
wouldn't
more
have the
information.
device
And
You
to
wouldn't have the
amplify.
device, and
I've
you
got
would be able
dreamies.
to come
To
back
come
here,
back,
and
yeah.
you would
No, yeah.
just be back in.
I mean, they do have
as
powers of
kittens.
teleportation as
Some
well.
of you
It
might
could
not have
like
been born yet.
double as
Yeah,
time
but we
traveling
would
a
be
little bit.
stuck back in this year. And without a device, our power would be amplified. And then, well, we cannot come back.
You wouldn't be together. You'd be spread across the world.
Well, how old is the device? Maybe we'd
probably
find another
working.
device back then.
I think we need to find the missing pieces of this puzzle. We found one. Sir Uncle George, pretty useless, I'm not going to lie.
Wait, Sir Uncle George.
Grace is the second missing piece of this puzzle.
It is. We have to find that.
Well, maybe Grace is ahead of us and is trying to stop the other devices. Maybe we go to every museum and get every device down to stop the.
Every museum
Grace
in the world.
sent me an SOS, and I fear if these were the Rosicrucians, that she was captured.
Can you use your tech skills to see where Grace was sending the message from?
No,
Yeah.
that's not how my tech works. That'd be very cool. But I can only scramble or turn off and on tech objects.
Wow.
But
Maybe
I do.
with the
If
amplifier.
she can do that, why can't she turn off all the tech that those funny humans are using, like the ninjas in the basement?
Because we don't know how it works.
Well,
I like the idea where we at least go to another museum and see if there's a device there. Because if there's multiple devices, it seems like we probably need to get them all.
and then what are we gonna do with them once we have them all?
Well,
Just sit on them?
I mean, if when we went towards the device, the regress cat stopped acting so weird and garnishing attention, maybe we need to be doing that in other places where the regress cats are garnishing attention.
Maybe this is what they're expecting. Because the device seems to have waited for us. I mean, they planted it for us to be drawn by it. Maybe for us to get it back to the council, even. Maybe this was their plan.
Has anybody checked it for bombs?
I don't know anything about
Do we have roll for bombs?
So,
No, we didn't do that, no.
Hey, can we do a spot hidden roll?
You can. What are you looking for?
A bomb on the device.
Go on.
Maybe I'm not the best one to do it though. Who has a good spot hidden?
I'll lower it for you because it is a technical device.
Okay, cool. Oh god, I have a 1. Okay, 8. 8's across the board, and spot hidden is 6, so 8 plus 6.
14.
14? My favorite number?
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's my favorite number. It's
really fun.
It was my first bus when I was a kid, so
Oh, interesting.
it's cute.
You're learning things about each other. You look at it closely, it doesn't look like it has any kind of explosive inside of it.
Okay.
It looks safe-ish on that point of view. The thing you can't quite see is whether or not it has any kind of a listening device attached to it.
Dun dun dun.
Oh my.
Do I suspect there's a listening device?
You don't know. You've established that there's no cameras, you've established that there's no explosives, and then there's a weird-looking wire and you don't really know what it is.
Oh, so this is kind of bad news if there's a listening device and we brought it to the council and then talked about a lot of stuff that we shouldn't know. That is not very great.
I don't think we should
Yeah,
be
but
collecting
listening
devices.
device should be telepathic because we're talking with telepathy.
Yeah, we're not actually speaking out loud, are we?
No, we're not speaking out
Oh,
loud.
that
I'm
is
sometimes
true.
speaking out loud, but just to say random
Speaking
things.
brain.
Just one other question. Theoretical question.
Are you going to use me again?
I have to use you because I have to have clear view of the situation. Let's say that what Mrs. Coob discovered happened and the extremists were expelled from the council just before a very important vote. Would you have been one of the cats to participate in expelling them if this was to happen?
I have been here for a very long time, in fact longer than most cats live. I have seen the ups and downs of this council,
That's a yes then.
and I truly am sorry that I'm not at liberty to discuss this with you.
You're in danger, don't
Can-
you see?
Is there anything you're at liberty to discuss?
Oh well,
Let's just make that list really short. How's that?
no.
All right.
The very people you're protecting are the people who are going to turn against you, Sir Richard, Uncle George. Where did that Richard come from?
Richard.
Sir Uncle.
I like it.
I thought he was a rich Uncle
Sir
George.
Richard, Uncle George.
Maybe I will
She does look like a
change my
Richard.
name
Sir
to
Richard, Uncle George.
No,
You must know
the only thing
that.
I need is I need somebody to tell me I can reveal it. So either we go to the council.
Grace is the missing link. I tell you.
Again, Grace.
Well, of course. I do think that
There are ways to do this. There's a hierarchy in this council. It's an institution.
Well-
it lives and survives through the ages because of how it is organized.
Well, let's bring this to the council. You'll be if they find out in another way than you, then you'll be de facto accused of the situation. At least if you come along with it, an investigation will occur. You may be detained for a period, I imagine, and we can still work.
Are you certain that investigation will occur? Will it not be the perfect time for his enemies to move and discredit him.
It depends if it's the council in a whole, but there are many members. And this would be public.
Yeah, but who can we trust?
Could we have an aside?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
you
have an
can-
aside.
Yes, I think that's wise.
I'm gonna go set up a meeting with the council, and I can always pretend it was for something
Oh,
else.
good, you do
but at
that.
least we'll have it if you
Fine.
want.
This is your decision, finally.
Well, I have nothing to hide, and I think the more people investigate, the more they'll see that whoever did this is someone clearly highly, highly connected. I'm going to go and do a little bit of investigating on my end. You guys go along and contact me. I'll be around.
Fine.
Okay,
So-
team. I'm still having a great time, even though this is very difficult. But what do we think?
Well, I have a little plan. I'm thinking we have hold of the device, right? What if we tell Sir Uncle George that we are hiding the device somewhere until he has spoken to whoever he needs to speak to? We tell him where the device is hidden, but we tell him not to tell anyone. Of course, if the device gets stolen, we'll know that he's, not to be trusted. What do you think of that?
Why are we hiding the device so others don't get it?
No, we're hiding the device as a ploy to see whether he's trustworthy.
So we don't tell him that he needs to keep it secret.
No, we tell him that he needs to keep it secret, and if he doesn't,
If you tell him that, it implies that no one else will know and he won't dare. Whereas if you let him believe that other people might know, but
Yeah.
we know that he's the only person who does,
And if the device is stolen, what then?
then we know that he's involved.
And then we have to go and look for the device.
Or one of us is involved. There's always that issue, but well,
There's a lot of suspicion floating
damn
around
it.
this.
Okay, this
There's
is
a lot
gonna
of
work.
tension. I think it's time to address the cat in the room.
You know, why don't we just do
Say
the...
it. Spit it out.
What is the cat in
What
the
do you
room?
have against me? Apart from being a Nepo fur baby.
Nepo fur baby this time.
how dare you? I do not know you. You come out of nowhere from an investigation approach with
I'm Pets
secrets.
Matummy. The most famous.
I'm struggling with being serious in this particular situation.
Oh, really? I'm the most famous journalist in the whole of this
Room.
realm. What is the
famous
realm?
or not famous, if you are willing to move forward, we need to be certain that everyone is given all of the details they have.
Well, I have given you all the details that I have. But your Sir Richard uncle hasn't.
This is a fair point, and which is
Thank
why
you.
this is why I do tend to be on the agreeing with everything that's been
Yes.
said so far. I just raised the point that we need to be careful, and there is another person in the equation that is not yet accounted for, and that is Grace.
We need to find Grace.
That keeps coming back, doesn't it? But
I'm happy you're saying that because, yeah, we need to find
My
Grace.
wife.
Yeah, Grace is just
Oh, we're singing from the
being
same hymn
tabled
sheet.
for now.
what resources do we have? So if we do this with the device for your plan, at least something's occurring on that front.
Okay. We don't actually put the device where we tell her we put the device.
Oh,
is
okay.
what I
so
mean.
we put a mimic.
Can we use the device to summon Grace?
Oh my.
is very strong.
I do have a technical question.
Go on.
The way that the council summons us spontaneously,
Yeah.
can we ask them to do that for Grace?
Um,
In theory.
in theory, you can ask.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Maybe a long conversation, but okay. Maybe we could try that.
I also
If
still think we
she
could check out another
can't be
museum.
summoned, it will certainly mean that she is detained by the Rosicrucian then.
At least we'll be settled.
Yep.
She's lost.
No, she's not.
No, forgive me, I was a bit brutal, but difficult situation.
I see the device as a kind of cat magnet, if you will. If we turn it on and the signals will draw the cats, and I've just realised Grace is a Bastet, so that won't work.
No, that won't work.
Did you feel any
Sparkly?
tingling next to the device?
Absolutely none.
Okay. Well, anyway, go ahead with your plan. Let's at least do that, and we communicate the fact that we've hidden the device. Maybe we go to the council meeting anyway,
Yeah.
and
And then what?
We tell all of the members where we've hidden the device, which is not actually the actual place where we've hidden the device, and then we have someone stationed there to see who comes to steal it.
What about Grace?
Yeah, well, you got any ideas?
Let's try
really.
the summoning thing first.
All right,
we
that's
asked it at
the
the
easiest
council.
thing
And
to do.
then
We'll try that first.
We'll see.
All right,
Okay,
let's do it.
so
And,
council meeting.
If it doesn't work,
Very nice.
we capture her Rosicrucian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we do.
He's okay. Yeah, they've been going
We'll
on.
make him talk.
One way or another.
Yeah. I've got opposable thumbs. I can do things with them.
And then we revert back to Uncle and inform him that we want to do the meeting.
Right. The council is waiting.
Oh my, that was quick.
Well, yes, you accuse a leading member of treason.
No, not
we're
quite there yet.
accusing
Before
anyone.
we go into this meeting, I have to say we must not be forthcoming with all our information. We don't know who we can trust. We know what we've discovered, rather I, and I've shared it with you all. So we really must be very, very careful. Don't give me that look through your spectacles.
Should we
I
not
do
teleport
agree.
the device out of here before we take that meeting? Where is the device right now anyway?
In my
If
hands.
things go sour, we could use the device.
True. All right.
I'm not quite sure how.
How big is the device anyway? Can we stick it in our pocket? We don't have a
In
pocket.
your cat pocket.
Well,
it holds in the palm of a hand.
You can put it
under your
it's a bit.
fedora hat.
It's like a large, like basketball size.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I
Under
could
your
hold
You
it.
can hold it in one hand.
Yeah,
You
good.
can. The cats can't carry
Could you
it.
Of
hide
course.
it? Yeah.
I didn't do anything
Okay.
with it.
Just one question before going to the council. Are you able to summon Grace like you summoned us? Can you try it?
I reckon I could try.
Try it.
Please.
Yeah,
go with
Try it. Try it.
Love this. Okay. Nope.
it.
Grace.
No?
Whiskers.
No.
Well, that was
she has been
underwhelming.
captured and we have to deal with the Rosicrucian.
You know, it's sometimes with the Bastets, it's not as reliable.
Can I don't know, can I spot, did he actually try?
You can
I wanna
intuition
Yeah.
whiskers.
Intuition, whiskers. Okay, that was a strange throw, wasn't it? So we have 14.
He definitely tried something.
Okay,
What do you have, 14?
14.
Sus. Okay.
Okay,
I'm not surprised. With Bastets, sometimes it doesn't work, and what
Sounds
What
to
is
me like
making
you don't
you-
like Bastets, just like you don't like
yeah,
extreme
sometimes
Uists.
it doesn't work because we're not really cats and blah, 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 blah.
it's just that this is factual information.
Sounds like the musings of someone who might expel others who didn't share their views from the council, does it not?
Are you accusing me of anything?
No, I'm accusing Sir Uncle George.
Ah, yeah.
again.
Some more time travel and teleportation. Perhaps someone can hide in the council room to hear what he said to them.
I
Just 5 minutes
merely
ago.
asked for a meeting.
Okay, let's get it over and done with. Hide your
I do agree.
hide your thing under your hat and let's
Yeah,
go.
please, let's just go.
He drags you along sort of small corridors, and you struggle to get there. Very specifically, you struggle to get there.
I teleport in the council
absolutely
room.
not made for you. You don't know what the council room looks like.
Never
but-
been there?
Not this one. This is the World Council room. You've been to the local ones. You've been to London. Eventually, you get through back doors, and all of you end up in this large, very much a hemisphere with the leaders all sat in the front, and then many seats, and they're all empty. They've emptied out all of the representants, and you basically what you're stood in front of is the leader of each faction.
Even the extremist leader.
Cannot stress to you how rare this is. In the history of cats, people getting a one-to-one with only the leaders is beyond rare.
This has never been seen before.
So even the extremist leader is there.
Every single leader is there.
We are making history, friends, and I'm a little worried.
I
Yeah.
cannot wait to tell my parents about this.
Maybe I could tell them about accessibility. Bastets are cats.
Yes.
So there's
Sure, I'm
10
sure they'll love
leaders, there
that.
should be. 10 leaders as far as I know.
Yes, absolutely. There's 10 of them.
Great.
They're all called George. No. No. George goes and sits in his seat that has his seal on the back of the chair.
Wow.
So, it looks like this fun little group of cats and others have collected incriminating pieces of evidence towards me and my faction, of which, of course, you are a representative in this group. I present this to the council because I have nothing to hide and do not want this information to come into your hands any other way. This meeting is here because the circumstances of what has been discovered and what I've shared with you, council members, a few minutes ago, time is of the essence. We are dealing with complicated history, we are dealing with missing agents, we are dealing with the Rosicrucians, most likely. And clearly, if people want to accuse me and have me stand down, for the sake of the investigation, I am happy to hear that. I understand that with an evidence like this, it is difficult for me to, try to argue for my freedom. However, I do bring this to you, council members. I would not be here and I wouldn't have stayed in this role for this long if I was not able to cover my tracks. This does reveal a bit about me, I guess, but I am hoping that all of you other council members understand the need sometimes to be a bit more secret and use ways perhaps less direct than signing such an incriminating device with my own seal. I'm being framed, and this group thinks apparently the extremists have something to do with this, and the council member of the extremists at this point is like,
Classic.
And but I am not forwarding such accusations. I think we should hear them out, and I did not want in my name to be revealing potentially dangerous information, so here we are. The council is listening.
I must ask a burning question that I have, and this is to all council members. Do you know anything about the disappearance of Special Agent Grace Whiskerson?
Jones, name is Jones.
Whiskerson Jones.
Grace
Grace
Jones. Grace
Love
Whiskerson
it.
Jones. No, we do not. We lost contact shortly before getting you there. We wanted to get you off the ground quickly. Also, because we'd lost touch. We thought she might have gone rogue with it. Maybe something incriminating the Bastards or
Grace
the
would
humans.
never go rogue.
What was her last location? Do you at least know that?
Yes, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York.
Well, that cannot be, because that's where we've just come from.
Maybe you didn't look close enough.
We weren't able to search the basement. so-
Hey,
Sorry.
No, don't you apologise to them.
We are
they
not
should be apologising to you.
pointing fingers here. We are trying to solve a mystery that is a great danger to the conspiracy and all of us standing here. The order that we have and have established in this institution, in the council, in this World Council specifically, is a delicate equilibrium. And the reason why the party members and the representatives of the factions aren't here today is because we did not want the conspirators to have a louder voice in this matter. This is a great danger of us all. All the cats, all the regressed cats getting powers. It takes us months to train one awakened cat that we've found that hasn't been born from awakened parents. It's a tedious affair to teach them all the ways of the council. You've all been through this training. You know what we are protecting here. We cannot do that if all of the other cats are suddenly developing telepathic powers. This is of the utmost importance. We have already started sending teams in the museums around the world to stop the devices. What we do not know is how or what activates them.
Indeed, a little respect for the situation would be in order, and a respect for your status. However, the situation we're faced with is dire, and if the Rosicrucians are involved, what intervention power do we have?
You know, out of all of us, the most. The Rosicrucians are dangerous. They are a force that we tend not to meddle with. We can offer you... We have this kind of device, the kind of device that amplifies powers. We use them regularly here. This is what teleports you in and out so easily. We can give each of you one or one to share or something like that in your quest against the Rosicrucians. But if this is who you are fighting, we are not sure how powerful they are, and I genuinely hope not. But if they have captured Grace, the hopes of getting her back alive and healthy are slim at best.
We have a reason to believe that this is not only the Rosicrucians, for them to get their hands on a device able to mimic the kind of device that are here. It means that they have someone on the inside. It means that someone gave them this power. Some leads lead us to believe that maybe some extremists are involved. I don't say the faction, I don't want to accuse the faction and so on, but some extremists, which would be trying to be vengeful about what happened to them.
At this, the extremist leader stands up, sort of like a woman that you don't want to mess with. And she goes, every single member that we suspected has been kicked out, evicted, cut from their powers, or worse.
So it seems I was telling the truth.
We do not take these accusations lightly, and the extremists have worked tirelessly in the council to represent the best for the cats and the conspiracy. We have voted in favor, we have made alliances with others.
That's why
so
I'm not
as to not
accusing the
cause
faction,
problems.
madam. I'm not accusing the faction, but members, personalities, persons who decided to snap.
I wouldn't know about that. We don't keep tabs.
Yes, but it is important that we draw your attention on that matter.
I would like to know, since it seems we have been confirmed this information that certain extremists have indeed been expelled from their own party, why this happened right before a crucial vote?
What was the vote about?
And
told
what was
you
the
this?
vote about?
A journalist never reveals its sources.
No,
That's what
absolutely
she
not.
said.
So you're friends now.
I think I know who it is. I'm not going to say anything though, because we're cool, so I won't say.
Okay.
Okay. The vote was regarding a step perhaps in the wrong direction for us, something a bit too extreme. The faction had somehow convinced the rest of us that this was the way to go. And when I mean the faction, I mean this subset of the extremists. We fell for it, and we were brought to our senses as to the dangers of what was offered on the table on that day, and acted fast and swiftly, because Cat's honour means votes that have been brought forwards always have to go through. We acted in the best interest of the conspiracy, and the only people aware of this, as far as I know, are in this room right now. So I am now desperate to know how you, seemingly nobody, got your hands on this information.
First of all, I'm Pets Matami, the most famous investigative journalist in the whole of this realm. And if you had picked up a newspaper, madam, you would know that. Second of all, my sources are secret. I'm protecting them for their own sake. And
Because you know who else knew about this?
who?
Violet Scoop. But you know who's been dead? Violet Scoop. So now here's my question to you. Where's Violet Scoop?
Violet Scoop, as far as I know, is long dead. What was that just do?
Sure. I have ways of looking into the minds of people. I don't think you'd like them, though. I think it's easier if you tell me where Violet Scoop is.
I do not know. I believe...
Are you Violet Scoop?
I'm not Violet Scoop. I'm Pets Matami. Pets Matami.
So the plot thickens, right?
It seems that you are flipping the accusation on its head.
Yes, indeed.
Madam.
And we all know that someone in this room is guilty of something. That I believe that even the council is aware that someone, as the council, is involved somehow. You can't deny, no one can deny that someone is giving us a bit of a pickle. And either the seal is true, sorry, uncle, or someone is trying to set my uncle up. Either way, someone is acting in the shadows behind this and involving the Rosicrucians, putting us all in danger.
And the only person we haven't spoken to is Grace.
We need to find her.
We need to find Grace. We're not going to get answers from this group of prying politicians.
10 small cats come from different doors from everywhere, so jumping around, and each of them go to whisper into one of the council members' ears. They are like the assistants, the people who deliver messages to each of them specifically, and they whisper something in the ears of each of the council members, and they all look at each other. This meeting is adjourned. It looks like the signal, whatever it does, wherever it is back on, and the number of cats has increased tenfold. We're sending agents to gather their signals, whatever they are, and try to put them somewhere safe. I think you're better off here, maybe. So if you stay here, maybe we can talk about this a bit later. We have important business to get to, and Uncle George leaves, and all the other council members just, in a kind of panic, leave as well, leaving you alone in this room.
Let's investigate it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a council
Let's poke
room.
around.
It's a council room. What do you? Oh, okay, poke around.
Probably bugged.
There must be a clue, perhaps, as to where they sent Grace.
As you say, Grace, you get an absolutely horrific noise in the back of your mind, like the worst kind of screeching noise. And as you have the kind of like gut reaction of falling in on yourself, all of you hear it as well. And in rapid succession, you're seeing images of a dark, kind of pungent room. Lids are opening, closing. You're seeing this from the perspective of someone. You see someone strapped to a chair. You're seeing it from this perspective, so you're watching as hands clutch the like arm rest. You recognise Grace's tattoo, of course, that she has on her arm, her forearm, and as she looks up, struggling to keep her eyes open, you're seeing come towards her a very, very tall white man, very massive white man, wearing a lab coat, kind of poking a needle aggressively, getting closer and closer and saying, "What's going on with the cats?" And right before it all flashes to black again, you, all of you see it, but you recognise it, a little lapel, a little pin on this person's lapel. That is a little symbol. It's dark, dark red, and it's a hand holding a rose. On the wrist of the hand is a sword, and on top of it says Rose Croix, circa 1459.
Was that Grace?
Yeah, that was Grace. We must go to that room
And those
now.
were the Rosicrucians. We can teleport there now.
Yeah.
The device still works.
Where? Back to the Met?
No, we don't know where this room is, but we saw it.
Yeah, so we could teleport in the
We
room.
could teleport now.
Let's do it.
Do we take this risk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously.
Okay. This is not just our lives. This is the entire conspiracy in our hands. We saw no one else in that room. We must be ready to act.
Okay, I'm ready.
Don't worry,
Meow.
I'm ready.
Okay.
He has magic, but I have a cane.
In that case, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
In the same arrangement as before. So
Yep.
you two together
Yep.
and three of you. Brilliant.
Yes.
You get inside of this room and teleport right as Grace is screaming. A very angry liquid is threateningly being almost poked into her arm, you have very little time to act before this, whatever it is in this.
I take my cane and
syringe.
I'm going to freeze time.
I will roll for Claude combat. Also.
Okay.
and I'm gonna hit him in the head.
Okay.
Are you freezing time?
I'm going to freeze time.
Okay, you're freezing time.
Okay.
Use up the ranks for that, however long you want it to be.
3 ranks. Oh, 5 rank seconds. Okay, well,
it's
the
seconds.
maximum. Oh, the maximum. So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do I roll? 3.
No, you don't roll. Is it?
Oh, that's it.
that's
Oh,
just what it
perfect.
is.
No,
I've
you've
frozen
just
time.
spent
for-
it.
So you now have 15 seconds to do whatever you want to do. Time is frozen. You're in this room. It looks like the basement of the museum. You were correct. There's archives stacked, like lined up next to each other. This is clearly they've pushed stuff aside, put down a chair. Grace is held, screaming, with tears down her face. She's clearly not having a good time. Wrist held and bound to the chair. She has also been frozen by this.
Are we all frozen too, or is it?
No, all of you can act.
Okay, cool.
There's, again, this very tall, very wide man standing over her with a syringe very, very close to her arm, and there are 2 other agents stood to the door.
As the time is frozen, I'm gonna take the syringe and inject the man with
Okay.
his own
Okay?
liquid.
That rolls. Okay.
That was a bit violent. I will mind control one of the other 2 humans. And if I do that, am I going to be subjected to the freeze, or does that release me from the freeze?
What do you mean?
So I want to mind control one of the other 2 guards.
Okay.
The other 2 Simians. But am I going to be subjected to being stuck in time?
What do you want to do specifically?
I then want to punch my colleague in the face.
Okay, I'll let you plant the idea. You won't see
Okay.
the resolution of it until the time unfreezes.
Okay, interesting. Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Anything else? Anything anybody wants
And
to
I
do?
will,
1 rank, so 5 minutes of
Okay.
control.
Yeah?
Okay.
and I will poke real hard at the at the other guard.
She's just gonna
Yeah,
scratch
I'm
him
just,
up for
I'm
15
just gonna,
seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do whatever I can.
Claude Combat.
Yep.
Go on.
Oh, so
roll
roll
for it.
3. All right, so let's hope this is good. I have a base of 3 and a rank of 2, so 5
5.
plus 10, 15.
You've hurt this person quite badly, but they're quite strong because they're a human, you're a cat, so. They're scratched for sure.
They scratched up for sure. Does it? I mean,
It's not
I
gonna-
can scratch him in a specific
It's
place.
not going to do. No, please. It won't do much more. This is the rule. You have about 5 seconds left to act before they unfreeze.
All right. Well, I'll just stay glued to his face then, so he can't see anything.
Okay.
Okay, can I use my 15 seconds to spot hidden?
Yeah. What are you looking for?
A clue.
A clue. That's big. But
Well, what if I'm looking around at where Grace is, seeing if there's anything around where she is of interest,
Okay.
like a device or something of some sort, or whatever.
Can we speak at the same time as all this is happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? Release Grace.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
Oh, should I do that?
untie
I'm gonna-
her.
We need to
Yeah,
take out
yeah,
the agents because
yeah.
once time unfreezes everybody,
Yeah.
we're going to be not outnumbered, but they look like they could take us.
Yeah, and you could teleport her out of there. Real
Do I have time to do one other thing?
Yes.
Okay. Do they have guns, the 2 guards?
Yes.
I take
They
one
are
of the guns.
heavily armed.
I take the biggest weapon they have.
Okay.
Okay, and I just point at one of the 2 guards
Okay.
and I shoot in the head.
What? You shoot the guard in the head.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, savage.
Should we teleport Grace out of here?
Yes.
Who can do that? One of
Well,
you two.
they're kind of busy.
Yeah, we're very busy. so it's-
Doing what?
well, I'm mind controlling the guy that's been shot.
No, the other one.
Well, I think you're good
His
now.
face, and you shot him in
We
the head.
don't
I'm
need
dead
that
now.
anymore.
No, I waited for you to get
Oh well,
back.
thank you.
If I
Don't
hadn't tried
worry.
to bite through the ropes that are being,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what would that be?
Claude
What-
Combat.
Claude Combat.
Yeah.
I'm bad at that. All right, I'm gonna look for a clue instead.
Okay.
No one's going to teleport Grace.
I can't.
I
So
will.
7 plus 6, so that's 13.
You find a way out of here
Okay,
that
so an
isn't
exit?
back through the main door.
Okay, I find an exit. Okay, cool. Where's that?
Like on the side, hidden behind some paintings.
Cool, cool, cool. Love that.
And I wait for the time to unfreeze,
Okay.
because I don't have any other action, I think.
So what's happened is, you appeared in front of these people. They don't know at all what happens when they come back to themselves. One of them has been shot in the head and has died. I'm going to just say that face-to-face headshot. I'm not making you roll for this. Means they're dead. One of them now really wants to hit the guy in the lab coat
Yeah.
because there's no other
Yeah.
guy here.
Yeah.
The guy in the lab coat, is going to have to sit down and eventually just slump on the floor and start like, is not having a good time.
Oh, wow.
Is in immense pain. So you are now dealing with this guy on the floor who's being hit in the head by his colleague who had no one else to hit.
I want eyes closed, as eyes possibly closed. No, he won't be able to see if I do that. Can I control his mind, get him to do things, or does he have to use his senses as well? in
What do you
theory?
mean?
What I mean is that if he has his eyes closed, he doesn't see us while he's doing it. Is that a stretch?
Honestly, roll a die.
Yeah.
1 to 5,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
9 to 10, no.
Okay.
5.
Okay. You're telling this guy to hit and not look.
Yes, and not well. Basically,
But
try
be
to.
precise, but don't
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want him to see us. Is the whole idea? So
Yeah.
I still have 5 minutes on him.
Yeah.
So that's long, and I'm kind of keeping on the control and
We're going back. I put my hand on Grace. I put my hand on you,
Okay.
and I use teleport.
and
So you're out of there.
and as well, I'll try and do that in parallel. When we've acknowledged our gaze and that I see that he's going to do that, I then turn to my 2 remaining colleagues and do the same thing. But I think I'll probably go to the first place that comes to my mind, and it probably won't be the right location.
Where are you going?
If I'm honest, I think I'll accidentally go to the bridge again.
Okay. You're back on the Brooklyn Bridge, were you?
And I'm back on the council.
You're back on
Room.
the council room. It is in shambles. There are cats running around everywhere, trying to organize, coordinate, send each other on missions just to hide this for as long as possible. It's been tricky to get all of the devices out safely without being seen. There keeps having problems on top of problems on top of problems. Whenever a device gets taken out, someone gets revealed, and then they have to hide that and go back in and change memories, and it is a mess because of the wide scope of all of this. And as you're now split each in one area, I'm going to ask all of you to please leave the table, apart from Deborah.
Okay, Deborah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you later.
Per you later.
You've been teleported back into the council.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by this mess, this absolute kerfuffle. And in the corner of your eye, your keen, investigative eye, sees a cat that it feels like you've seen them before, but you can't quite place where. And they're clearly trying to get your attention.
Okay.
They're going to speak directly into your mind. Don't react. Pretend I'm not here. Pretend I'm not talking to you. Listen to me very carefully. I know about Violet Scoop. I loved her, and I'm sad that what is happening has happened. I've been watching you. You can't stop there. You're doing a great job. It's so good that you got close to Marie. We don't have much time, but she is the key to all this. You have to keep pushing her. I can't really help from here, unfortunately, but maybe when all this is said and done, we can, grab a drink or share a tuna can. Ask her about her parents. They weren't retired. And the link cuts off. and as you look around, you can't see the cat anymore.
Let me make a note in my notebook.
And this is where we will end this episode for real this time.
Dum dum dum.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you next week for the final epic conclusion.
Finale.
And yeah, we hope you're enjoying this.
Oh.
Like the video, subscribe. All the links for Holy and for Black Book editions are in the description below. And we hope you're enjoying this so far, and join us next week. Bye.